there. I think we may have Billy back now. Billy, can you hear us now?
Yes, sir. I hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. So great to have you today, Billy. Thank you so much. I know we're at the game yesterday and have a little bit of a tight schedule, so we appreciate you joining us. I guess just give us your thoughts, man. I mean, what happened yesterday? It seemed like the offense never really got going, just except for Samson having a pretty good day. Just talk to us about what you saw and what your thoughts were from that Tennessee Arkansas game yesterday.
Oh, man, it gave me the bugs of what we were used to when I played, man. We had that delay game before Florida every year. Yeah. And, we came off flat, man. It was, it's hard for me to put the blame all on the kids because, you got 2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
And me as a player, when I played at Tennessee, when we had 2 weeks to prepare for Florida, it was boring. Yeah. You got 1 week where we're just pretty much going over what we had on mistakes in the game before. And now you got a half a week to prepare for Florida and then a full week to prepare. So now you got a situation where you're bored. Coaches are being creative to try to get the kids to stay up for this game. It's hard. It's very hard. And I saw it yesterday, and it just reminded me so much of that. And they came off flat. I don't think they were really prepared for Arkansas. I think they kind of overestimated it, and kind of didn't think that Arkansas was going to be as good as they were because Arkansas dominated us from the beginning to the end. I mean, the score don't truly show how bad they really beat us, man. And, and thank goodness, the defense did stop them, a couple of times from getting in the end zone.
Yeah.
We just got to go back to the drawing board, man. I mean, it's the offense is doing exactly what we did last season. This is the part where a lot of people beat me up when I kept telling them, guys, it's not the quarterback, guys. It's not. It's not, as I'm telling you. We last night, if you go look at the film and just think about what we saw last year when Joe was in the game.
Yep.
Looks similar to Joe if you just put Milton on his back of his jersey. You got a couple overthrown balls, couple balls kind of, to the receiver's hands. And to me, it's just our offensive line, we're going to have to get a little bit better.
Yep.
We're going to have to figure out a way with the blocking scheme to either, we're going to do slide protection to help the quarterback out and go to some old school stuff when we got some dominant defensive linemen that we're playing. Because, hey, Arkansas got some guys that's going to go to the league. And I'm talking about first rounders. These guys are just as good as us. They've been playing for a long time. And I keep telling people, when you have seniors or guys that's been playing together for so long, it's so much fun when you go out there and put it together and realize that, hey, we can compete with these guys. We can do the same thing, and you have to give credit to Arkansas, man. Those guys, they didn't quit, man. They kept coming, even when their quarterback got hurt. You saw this kid go over to his offensive line and tell these guys, let's finish this.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, guys, I said, man, we might be in trouble, man. We might be in trouble, man.
It's funny you bring up the offensive line because I was thinking that. I mean, in run protection, I mean, I thought they did very well. I mean, you look at Samson, how he was finding the holes too as well. I mean, it wasn't an outstanding game, no, but pass protection, it was really sloppy. I mean, it's not like Arkansas was running a lot of twists or stunts. I mean, they just really weren't crisp at all in pass protection, and it was affecting Nico quite a bit. I mean, granted, it didn't help when there was a lot of injuries across the board. I mean, Squirrel White got hurt. There was a lot of dinged up receivers. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the offensive line, I mean, yeah, they didn't play as good as I thought. I mean, Arkansas D-line they did some twists. They did a lot of movements. But the problem that I had is it wasn't the twists and movements that got us. It was one player that would dominate the whole line of scrimmage when that happened. Yeah. When you got the center in the backfield in the quarterback's lap, it's never going to work. That's the one spot that you have to control first. I get it if the defensive ends are getting to our quarterback and sacking us, but when you got the DTs in your face It's going to be a long game, brother. I promise that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, there was a big win, on the road against Oklahoma. And then, we've got obviously a ton of, games to come. I think with the 12-team playoff, this is something that the coaches can use, I think, to motivate the team. And, one loss isn't going to kill you with the format that we've got, at this point, Billy. Talk to me about what this team has to do now. And do you think this team can use this, as a building block, moving forward?
This is something where you're going to have your leaders on your defense, your leader on your offense. The coaches just got to do their jobs. They got to clean up the stuff that they need to do. Yes, use this as motivation, but as a player, they're going to need a leader. I had Al Wills. You're going to need somebody like that to chew you out, let you know that you're not as good as you think you are. Yeah. You got to humble each other. Mm-hmm. You got to let Nico know, hey, you're a 5-star, but hey, what you do last week? You didn't show me that. Yeah. You gotta get into these guys' heads. These kids are totally different from where they were back in the day. They're very sensitive now. Yeah. But the problem with that, they got to get out of that. This is football, man. Yeah. This is not a child's game, man. If it was, everybody would be playing this sport. Yeah. And right now, the motivation has to be, we just got our ass whipped by Arkansas, guys.
Yeah.
If that don't motivate you, nothing will. We got beat by Arkansas. And then you step it up and say, Vanderbilt beat Alabama, guys.
Yeah.
We got to play these guys.
Yeah.
And this what goes to show you, hey, this is the SEC. There's not one game that we're going to play the rest of this schedule other than homecoming that we got an easy task. And I kept telling everybody, Arkansas was going to be our toughest challenge of this season because of the off week.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up because now you go into playing Florida that next week. And, traditionally that Florida game has always been a big rivalry for Tennessee. But Florida is just not nearly anywhere near as good. What are the players going to have to do from a mindset standpoint to okay, we got to come out and put our foot on their neck right off the bat? Because, if you give them any kind of hope, you've seen some, look at yesterday with Vanderbilt, Alabama. Hope, a lot of things can happen. Appalachian State beat Michigan. Granted, Florida ain't that bad, but it's still, they're not Florida of the past. It's a rivalry week, but it's still, there's a gap in talent there too as well. What are your thoughts from a mental standpoint going into next week?
This game is always going to be a rivalry, man. The blood, the sweat, the tears, the fights that we have year in, year out. Last year, if it didn't show them that how Florida disrespected them, and they're coming to our house this year, and if they don't try to put 65, 70 points on Florida and keep the gas pedal on their throats, this team does not belong where they're at. They shouldn't be set on the pedestal the way we put them. This team needs to have a gut check. They got to look in the mirror, man. They have to. They got to look at each other and say, guys, what did we do? How do we fix this? We got Florida coming in this weekend. They coming off a win. Florida's not good. But, hey, to me, every team that we play is good. Don't let that fool you guys. Please don't. Look at Arkansas. Look at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt can have a heck of a season if they play like they played Alabama.
Yeah.
They play. You're talking about an offense gut check. They got a quarterback that just, ooh, man. When you got that kind of just, I don't care who I'm playing, I can win as long as you give me a chance. That's what we're missing. We're missing that, and I haven't seen it in a while. And yes, we did that the first 2 weeks, and then we came and we kind of kicked Oklahoma around a little bit, and then guess what? That second half, we look kind of average.
Yeah.
And that's the part that as a Tennessee team, we can't be like that, guys. We can't. There has to be something that has the it factor on either side of the ball. We got to have the it factor somewhere. And we didn't have that on either side of the ball yesterday.
No,
But this week coming up with Florida, it should be easy to get up for these guys. And my motivation as a player is, okay, I remember you guys try to fight me, and I wasn't really trying to fight. You remember you pushed me? You remember that, right? Guess what? I don't forget that easy, because I'm telling you, I'm just like a bear. I'm like a lion. I'm ready to come eat. It's time to fight now. Words aside, it's hey, we finna find out who smells blood first.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. And I love how you said, the team needs their leaders. I mean, you think back to that team you played on, Al Wilson, T. Martin, you. I mean, you guys had seniors, you had guys that had been there, you had guys that had done it, and they held the rest of the guys accountable. And, I think that's, maybe what was missing yesterday. I mean, who was that leader that was rallying the troops? I mean, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that was yesterday. Who do you think is that guy on this team, or who has to be that guy on this team going forward to hold these other players accountable and get them, focused on each and every game?
I mean, right now, if I was to say anything, it would have to be our seniors on the D line, man. Our DTs, they've been there for a while. They understand what they got to do, and they got a lot of young guys that's playing behind them. I don't see it even when I go to practice. I haven't seen anybody that's just jarring anybody or making sure this here that is different now. Their practice is crazy. I mean, it reminds me of how we practiced back when I did, but I still don't see that one guy that just say, okay, I'm afraid of that guy. If he tell me I need to go run through that wall, they don't have that. I don't see that. It's been a while since we had a true leader that I can think of, especially on defense. Because I'm thinking, I want to go all the way back to probably, I'm going to say, Eric Berry. That's probably one of our last defensive guys that just, he wasn't a vocal leader, but he did so much where you had to follow his lead.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a play. You got to make a play. You got to step up. There's so many guys I can go back to when I play. Al Wilson. I mean, Tyrone Hines. There was so many guys that I can think of, but though it was always a linebacker when I played.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think back now about, how things are different now from a recruiting aspect back to, from today to when you came out. I mean, how was your recruiting process different now? I mean, obviously there's all the, 4-star, 5-star, all the recruiting services. What was your thought process going through, and why did you end up at Tennessee playing for Coach Fulmer?
Well, I'll be honest with you. My recruiting process was easy for me. When I came in, I was more of a guy trying to find family, man. Somebody that I can get along with. Football was football with me. I'm gonna go out there and do my thing. Because all I want to do is win. I know how to play this game. When I want to say, each kid on the '95 class reminded me of somebody that I played with in high school. So they all made me pretty comfortable. They made me laugh. They picked me up when I was down. They had my back. We all had our backs. And to this day, I still talk to each and every last one of those guys. Even if we don't see each other for all year, but as soon as we come together, it's just like we was, the first recruiting class. What's up, man? It's been a while. How you doing? I know all of their kids. It's a special situation that we had back then. And I'm not just saying my class. I'm talking about from the seniors that I played with all the way down. I still talk to all those guys. Every year I go from A through Z in my phone, and I call each one of those guys. The recruiting has changed to me when it comes to, like you said, the 4 to 5 stars. We didn't have that in a sense. 4 or 5 stars back then. It was more of like, top player in the state or something like that. And we always typically we're gonna get 1, 2, or 3 in the state when I play.
Yeah.
The difference I think now is more of they don't let the kids recruit the kids, I guess. We recruited who we wanted to come play with us. And, we didn't care about your stats, your film, or anything when I played, because if they were recruiting you, you had to be good.
Yeah.
So the part that we had to figure out is, can this guy adapt and be with us, hang out with us, have a good time, thinking about family, party. It was so many things that we came in. I mean, if you came in, you're being cocky and talking about, hey man, I'm the best that ever did this. Oh, you got 16? Yeah, I'm gonna wear a 16 when I'm coming here. Oh, what? Yep, you're gonna get dropped off and we gonna use them $40 on something else.
Yeah, I mean that team, that '98 team. I felt like you guys were so close, and that team was so, just played together, and held each other accountable. It's got to be more difficult in today's day and age. I mean, some of these kids just got here. I mean, you have the transfer portal where kids are on. Some of these guys are playing on their third team,
Yeah.
and I just have to imagine. I want to hear your thoughts on, how do you get these guys to buy in, and how can you make this team, a cohesive unit when some of these guys just got there and, haven't been in this program or know about Tennessee football because they're brand new.
I mean, it's changed a lot. The transfer portal has changed the game so much. I mean, I don't like it to a certain extent. I wish it was a one-time transfer rule where, you transfer once, you got to go. You're stuck there. I mean,
Agree.
I know when I played, transferring wasn't even an option. I mean, the only chance you have of transferring is if you're going to go somewhere that, they're pretty much not good, or you got to go somewhere where you're close to home for your family, for emergency, somebody has a health reason or something like that. Most definitely was not going to transfer anybody that we were playing against.
No.
In the conference. No, that was not going to happen. They would never sign off on it back then. Now, I guess now it's different because I guess the problem that I have is they've changed it to a business now.
Yep.
Is the kids don't understand the business like an adult will, that's been doing this for a long time. And when you give a kid that kind of money, it's a tough situation now. Tough situation. I mean, and now you got some of these kids that are doing good with it. They understand the process, but how many 18, 19, 20-year-olds that that get that kind of money at this age at these big colleges, are they going to do the right thing? Now, we don't hear about any of the bad stuff that goes on behind the scenes, but hey, it happens. It happens. NIL, I like it to a certain extent. Like I tell guys, even when I go speak to the guys, like, when I think about NIL, I wasn't asking to, have thousands of dollars. I was wanting to just have an additional $200-300 a month to be able to just do, get the necessities I wanted, or take my girl out for a date or something, or buy me a new polo or something, or different stuff like that. I wasn't trying to buy cars or pay off this, all these things, or retire my family. But God knows, I wish I could have. I think that's changed the game. Because you got these kids thinking that if you don't pay me this, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
that's the part that gets me, because guys, you got to understand, you still need this school too, just like the school needs you. So this is a 50-50 situation. I mean, come on now. They have paid you this, and just because they haven't paid you $1 million, come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the scary thing, last week, where a couple of kids were quitting after game 3 because they didn't want to burn their whole year of eligibility, and they're claiming that the school owed them more money. And it's just like, wait a second here, guys. I mean, if you guys are 3-0, if you want to keep winning, I'm sure that you're going to get additional money. But that bothered me. And I think it goes back to the recruiting, like we talked about earlier. You have to go and find the kids that love football. It's just like the pre-draft process. A lot of these teams, they want to find out who loves football and who's just playing it because they're good at it, and it gives them, what they want. And I think that that's kind of an important thing now with these coaches when they're meeting these kids. I think you have to really find out, who loves football, right, Billy?
And I agree with you there. And that's come to with the players, man. You got to know what players to trust. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, the kids got to be able to recruit the kids to know who these guys are. I mean, it's an interview process. And if you don't interview these kids and understand these kids, understand their backgrounds, brother, I'm telling you, it can be hard. It's a tricky situation. You're talking about 300 kids that these coaches have to watch.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bodies that you got to pay attention to.
It's funny because just listening to you talk, from a fan's perspective, they're going to remember your career for the, stumble and fumble with Clint Stoerner. But from your perspective, looking back at your Tennessee days, my guess is your best memories are stuff that happened in the locker room or even away from the complex with your fellow teammates. And how that stuff made you the team you were and brought you together. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree, man. I mean, that was us, man. We just like to have fun back then, man. It didn't matter if it was like a cookout or something, or, it was just the simple things that just made us so much better, man. The illegal things we did would be like putting a grill on the roof or something and cooking. that was like fun back then, man.
Yeah,
But
no
that's
doubt.
what it was, man. And I know. I mean, I don't see what the kids do, but I hear things, and it's not the same, man. I mean, you don't.
Yeah.
We have coaches would always, have a cookout or something. We all go there, or the coaches bring like snacks to the meeting rooms, and all the other coaches would buy in and do the same thing. So, like with my coach, Coach Brooks, his wife used to make this thing that was called dirt cake. And it was like, Oreo cookies and, cream cheese and all that stuff mixed up. And, oh, boy, when that stuff was real good and cold with a glass of milk, man. Oh, brother. So everybody used to be jealous of that. And then all of a sudden, all the other coaches would try to duplicate that. And it was hard to do that because now Coach Brooks' wife would have to make 5-10 times as much to make sure everybody gets some. It was fun, man. I mean, it was just little things like that is what made our team so much family-like, man.
Yeah, no, that's no doubt. And I feel like, what we talked about earlier is leading to some of the things that we saw yesterday, Minnesota knocking off USC, Washington knocking off Michigan, Vandy knocking off Bama. I mean, it's just a different way. These things have never happened before. Vanderbilt has never beat a top 5 team, Billy, in 60 attempts.
Wow.
And I feel like the changes, that have happened in college football may have this happen even more. I mean, do you agree with that?
I agree with that, man. I'm telling you, this is probably one of the toughest SEC group of teams ever, man. Like, hands down, when you sit here and you tell me that the Florida Gators are the worst team in the SEC.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Think about that.
That's crazy.
Florida Gators, God, man. I mean, I talk to guys that played at Florida, and I'm like, man, what's wrong? And the first thing they say is, we don't have enough criminals anymore, man.
It's true. It's true, man. You want some of those guys on your team, It's like.
Are you telling us you're watching the Aaron Hernandez thing on FX right now without telling us you're watching it? So.
Gosh.
It's dogs, man. You need some dogs on your team. We're not building, a church choir group here. We're playing a physical football game, and you need some of those guys. And Billy, I want to get your thoughts here. We're about to run out of time, but before we go, I do want to get your thoughts about this 12-team playoff. What is it going to take to get a team together I guess it all comes down to who's healthy at the end and who is playing the best at the end of the year, because it's going to be tough navigating through this 12-team playoff. What are your thoughts on this new playoff system, and what do you think it's going to take for a team to go all the way through it unscathed?
This is going to be one of the hardest decisions the committee has ever made. When they brought it up to 12 teams, it's going to be harder than they thought with 4 teams. I told all my friends that, the sexiest team may not even get in anymore now. You're going to have teams that are like for instance, Florida State undefeated, can't even get in. Think about that. Now Tennessee let's say they have 1-2 losses. Are they the sexiest team? No, because they don't look good. No, that's not it. They want to know who can bring the most fans, sell the most tickets now. And that's how this is going to be determined. Who makes the playoffs now? Who can bring the most money? That's what it is. It is a business decision. It is not about who is truly the best team.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's that they want to know whose fans travel, whose fans, buy the T-shirts, whose fans show up on the road and bring bring their fan base all over the place. I definitely think that'll go into it, and it's going to be interesting to see how many teams each of these conferences get in, and how that plays out. I'm very interested to see how that was. And last year, I was like, I don't know if they had 8 teams that could compete. This year, I don't know. I think there may be 12 teams that can compete for it. What are your thoughts on how deep you think college football is right now? And do you think there is 12 teams that can compete for the title?
Right now, I can't even think of a dominant team right now. Who is the most dominant team right now? I can't say that. I thought it was Alabama for a second. I thought Tennessee was dominant. I thought our defense was stronger than that. Georgia, they have a lot of soft spots. Alabama, they have a lot of soft spots. I don't know who's the new team right now. I want to see, this week is coming and see how teams fight back. And before I say that, we know who those 12 teams are right now. Right now, there's no way to determine who's the best 12 right now, because no one right now is sexy enough for me to say, man, we can't beat them. I can't beat them. They're number one. They're the best. No, we don't have that right now. Well, I take that back. I take that back. Texas right now is the strongest team that is showing not too many weaknesses, but I think their weakness is their quarterback.
Yeah. We'll find out, and it's going to be interesting because this, after this crazy week of college football here in week 6, I mean, it's just going to get crazier from here on out. And Billy, we really appreciate you taking the time. I know you were traveling today, so we appreciate you calling in and giving us an update, because we really wanted to speak to you and get your thoughts on this game and this team. And I can't thank you enough, man, for joining us.
Hey, guys, thank you for having me on, man. Anytime you need me, man, I'm willing to come on, man.
All right, man. We'd love to talk to you again real soon, okay? And we'll give you a shout and bring you on whenever you got time, okay, buddy?
All right, y'all take care, man.
All right, have a good rest of your weekend. All right, that was Billy Ratliff, former national champion, defensive tackle for the Vols, made the huge play. We didn't even get a chance. We had to get into the game there. We didn't even get a chance to really introduce him, but that was Billy. He made the biggest play maybe in Tennessee history, causing and recovering that fumble from Clint Stoerner versus Arkansas in 1998, which allowed the Vols to remain undefeated and go on to win the national championship with Philip Fulmer and the boys. So really enjoyed speaking with him today and getting his thoughts on that Tennessee-Arkansas game. That was crazy. We didn't even get to talk about the Miami game, coming back from 25 points down. Indiana is 6-0 for the first time since 1967. Florida State lost again. SMU beat Louisville. Texas A&M destroyed number 6, James, Missouri, or I guess that's what they
9.
Number 9. That's what it said on paper. I don't know if they were really the number 9 team, but crazy week of college football, and
Army and Navy are undefeated.
Yeah, for the first time since 1945, we got Army and Navy both at 5-0. So kudos to the service academies for getting it going, and great show today. Thanks to everybody for joining us. Thank you to National Streaming Sports and our sponsor, BetUs.com, America's trusted sports book. This is Man Coverage with Knoxville Nate and James Bonneville. We will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, James. Have a good rest of your weekend, okay, buddy?
Hey, you too, man.
All right. Talk to you again real soon. And Wow, I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna go rewatch some of those games.
Yeah, I'm like literally tired out from yesterday. It's insane. I mean, as much as we were complaining about it,
yeah,
and like, oh, what are we gonna do next week? And it was like, man, we could have done this show for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, we got a lot more. We didn't even get to half the topics, but I'm really glad we got to talk to Billy. He was awesome, and I think he gave us a lot of perspective on that Tennessee game and where this team is at and what they need to do going forward. So appreciate Billy Ratliff joining us today, and we'll be back next week to talk about college football week 7. Right?
You got it.
All right, bud. Keep them up.
Later.